Before I continue, viewer discretion is advised. I do have a tendency to use harsh language on this channel, so if you have young children around, please do not let them view this video. Shalom. Shalom, family trendsetter. All praises be to the Most High. I'm driving, so you'll hear some noise in the background, as well as I do have a tendency to struggle for words when I speak. Now, in this video, I'm going to be all over the place, but I want to start with a news that I just heard on the radio driving. This particular news channel was talking about an uptick in solar activity. They said between now and next year, there's going to be an uptick in solar activity, and this is exactly what he said. I'm going to quote him, what he said on the radio. He said, "Not even your sunscreen lotion is going to protect you from this solar activity," right? It's called a solar flare, a sun flare, or some shit like that, solar flare. And he said that. He said, not even your sunscreen lotion is going to be able to protect you from this event. That's what he said. So I'm saying to myself, sunscreen lotion. Who uses sunscreen lotion? Most melanated people don't use sunscreen lotion. We have natural sunscreen lotion in our comprised in our body. You know what I'm saying? The Most High bless us because we are the chosen people, right? He blessed us with this beautiful melanated skin complexion, you know what I'm saying? And cursed those hybridized Neanderthal descendants with that non-melanated skin complexion. So they're the only one, I believe, is going to be affected. No, not them alone, because you do have some of our people, our goofy ass people, going out there bleaching themselves to look like the oppressors, right? Little Kim. I mean, even people in my country, Jamaica, Africa, you see the before and after picture and you can't even recognize the person. They literally bleach their skin, and then I hate to see them wearing these fucking blonde wigs or blonde weaves. Even in their braids, they got this blonde in it, trying to look like the oppressor. They don't even realize how much the oppressor loved the idea that we, the beautiful melanated beings that was chosen by the Most High, are trying to look like them. These are culture bandits. These people don't have a beginning. They just came about from out of the K. I don't know where. They probably came from another time zone. And I don't know where the fuck they came from, right? And now they're here, and now they're wreaking havoc on the planet, and now the planet is going to fight back. So with this solar flare that's supposed to happen, I think they said between next year and or 2025 or some shit like that. But it's gonna wreak havoc, and I believe it's a judgment. It's judgment time for these fucking hybrids. You know, like parasites and shit. How a parasite invade a host. This is what these devils have done. They have came to this planet. They have invaded this planet. They have spread their parasitical, fucking demonic way of life around the world. They have went into many lands, conquer, kill, murder, spill innocent blood because they believe in blood sacrifice. That's why you dumbass Christians talk about Jesus in remembrance of him to eat of his body and drink of his blood. And a lot of y'all just don't realize that's a form of witchcraft. You know what I'm saying? That's like blood sacrifice. Who the fuck tell you to eat of your body? Even if it's a symbolic thing. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's something symbolic. We're not going to physically drink his blood or eat his body, but dumbass, you're still doing a ritual in remembrance of him. Did Moses or Abraham, Isaac or Jacob, in remembrance of anybody, drink of their blood and eat of their body? Then the Bible says life is in the blood. You're not supposed to even eat blood. So what the fuck? You know what I mean? And these dumb, I'm telling you, I didn't realize how many dummies are out there, family, call themselves Christians. I kid you not. And if you are a Christian, you listen to this channel or you subscribe to me, you're a dummy. You're a dumbass. You need to get out of that religion and wake up. Because y'all waste your money every fucking week, every Sunday. You're paying the pastor to teach y'all shit. You know what I'm saying? Giving you 10%. First of all, the tithing didn't have anything to do with money. It was food. And there was only one group of people who was allowed to collect tithes. It was the Leviticus priests. And you would give them 10% of your harvest, of your crop. And they would take the crop and they would put it into what's called a storehouse, a barn. And they would have these crops there for widows, people women husband that went into battle and they lost their husband, and then we was able to feed. Because one thing back then in the Hebrew community, they look out for one another. Just like today, the so-called Jewish, right, wanting to be the people of the book, they look out for each other. They don't charge their people interest. Do you know that Jewish people don't charge another Jew people interest on their loans? Did y'all know that shit? And that's how it was back then. The Leviticus priest was the one to collect. You got white pastors collecting tithes. You got African pastors. You got niggas. I mean, how do you know that they're Leviticus priests? And it wasn't money, because back then we didn't have money. Money wasn't invented back then. When that so-called law was instituted, and it didn't have to do with forcing you to do it, to do the shit. Basically, if you had a good harvest this year, you would give back 10%, symbolically to the Most High, but the Most High wasn't taking the shit. He was giving it to the Leviticus priest as a form of gratitude, and then the Most High would bless your crop another year. That's what it was about. It was a yearly thing. It wasn't no fucking every Sunday you go give 10%. Many of y'all pastors got big mansion houses, driving Bentley shit, driving what they got now, Lamborghini Jeeps. Pastors buying their wife Lamborghini Jeeps. Children are going to private school. Meanwhile, your kids are in a public school, in the public food system. You know what I'm saying? At harm's way, because you got these hybridized non-melanated demonoids going in and shooting up schools. You know what I'm saying? Giving away your money for what? If God give me money, why do I need to give it back to God? God blessed me with a job so I could take care of my family. What the fuck I got to give it back to God? What God going to do with my money? And if God want my money, God need to stretch forth a hand and say, look, give me back 10% that I give you. I don't want to hear that shit from no pastor telling me that shit. Do y'all know that Creflo Dollar, right, made a video 2 years ago saying that it was wrong for him to push the tithe offering doctrine? Do you know that he said it's wrong to throw tithes? Y'all don't believe me? YouTube that shit. Creflo Dollar, the nigga that name starts with a D, right? Dollar Bill. Creflo Dollar said it was wrong for teaching the tithe doctrine. Creflo Dollar, after he done made millions of dollars. And you know why he said that shit? Because he was trying to get money to buy a new jet. And the people was like, nah, I don't got it this time around, Pastor. And then he realized that these people are onto something. They starting to wake up. So he had to discount that shit. So a lot of y'all, what's the other one? Kenny Copeland, that snake. I think that's a real motherfucking snake. I think that's a real serpent in a human body. That's a real shapeshifter. Kenny Copeland. You ever look at Kenny Copeland? He looked just like a lizard. He even hissed like lizard a couple of times. You know what I'm saying? Made millions of dollars off his congregation. Goofy ass Christians. Because y'all believe y'all could buy y'all way into heaven. But anyway, let's stay on topic. So they're saying that solar flares are going to affect the world, and not even your sunscreen lotion going to be able to protect you. And again, the only group of people that need sunscreen lotion are these non-melanated beings, right? And these dumbass niggas that want to be white. You know what I'm saying? That want to look like they're oppressors. They're going to be affected. And I hope and pray that when the solar flare hits, I hope and pray that it hits those black people trying to look white. I hope and pray it hit them first, because they may be more affected than even these damn hybridized beings and shit. These non-melanated beings calling themselves the so-called white man. Why? Because the Most High, I think he's going to judge them even more, because he created you with the beautiful protection, the natural sunscreen lotion in your body. You don't even need a motherfucking lotion. Do y'all know that there's another video out there, right? There's a video out there, I'm sure some of y'all already seen it, where they put on these these non-melanated beings, these pale-faced devil call themselves the white man. They put on sunscreen lotion. It goes on white, but on the UV light, the shit show up black. Did you ever see that video? You can research that video as well. You know what I'm saying? And I believe all these melanated people that's being missing, they said it was like 30 of them in one lick that was missing. I think that they're using us for experiment. You know what I'm saying? I drive for a living. I deliver pharmaceutical family, and I'm telling you, I can't even tell you, but I'll tell you something. They are using us as experiment. They are using us as experiment. They are literally living off of us. Literally, they're taking out the melanated content in our body, in our bodies and shit, and they're using it to generate protection for themselves. They are literally taking out our body parts out of our body. A lot of times you see these drive-by shooting It's not by coincidence that, you know, a lot of these people now are getting shot in their head. Notice a lot of these people that's getting gunned down is headshots. Why? Because they're paying these niggas to go out there and hunt us. I'm telling you, shoot them in their head. Because when you get shot in the head, you're brain dead, but your organ is still alive. They still can put you on life support. How do I know? Because my son was on life support. He was shot in the head. And you know what's so funny, family? I forgot to mention that in the last video. I swear to the Most High. The Most High is my witness. Do you know the second day when I went to visit my son, they had a Spanish lady and a black man came to us talking about they're from some foundation, and you know they come to you all humble and shit, you know, in a nice way, sensitive way, and they were saying, you know, and I'm paraphrasing, you know, your son, you know, sorry for the circumstances, you know, my condolence and all this bullshit. And then the next thing they ask you, are you guys willing to consider donating, you know, my son, I was about to say his name, his body parts, his organs, to allow someone else to live. They even went as far as to say that if that happened, should that happen, they would give us a voucher that we can get $5,000 towards his burial. Basically paying my son and shit, paying us for my son's body part. And I was like, hell no. I said, nah. The way he came into the world is the way he's gonna leave out of the world. And guess what? His mother, that's my ex-wife. I remember in a video I said my wife, but no, she was my ex-wife. You know what this goofy ass woman said? Because she's a Christian. You know what she said to me? Well, you know, I would rather so and so to live on in someone else, to save someone else's life. Because you know, so and so, my son I'm talking about, he was about giving. You know, he was about giving back. You know, and you know how he loved giving and he was generous and all. And I think that's something. I said, you don't know that. I said, I don't think my son would want to be cut up and spread out, you know, spread out and shit, giving each of his body parts to people. Yeah, and my son, he was like me. He didn't really fuck with the hybrid people. You know what I'm saying? He don't really like white people like that because he don't trust them. You know, he used to call them devils and shit. You know what I mean? He was just like me. And he was, and I know for a fact my son would not like to know that his heart ended up to sustain a fucking hybrid, you know what I'm saying, a descendant of a Neanderthal hybrid, so they could continue with their wickedness. I'm sure. And I told her that. I said, you know, so-and-so would not approve of me, you know, cutting him up and dispersing. And I said, the first recipient is going to be probably a white person. Because, you know, they always get first preference. I said, you really think that they're going to give his heart to someone like us? The first recipient is going to be one of the very same people that he don't like. You know what I'm saying? My son didn't fuck with white people because he always called them devils. He's the one actually taught me about them before, you know, I was awoke. He taught me who they are. He said they're not human. He was the one who used to tell me that they're serpents. You know what I'm saying? They appear to be human. He was like, they themselves don't even know that they're not humans and shit because they was born that way, so they think that they're normal. You know what I mean? He was the one, and I told her, I said, you know, he would not want his heart, and she was like, well, you know, you can't say that because, you know, he was about giving, and God tells us to love everybody. You know, that's that Christian doctrine. God tells us to love. I said, God never told us that shit. I said, Jesus told y'all that shit. God told us to be separate. God said in the Bible, of all the families of the earth, you only choose Israel. That's what matter of fact, here you go. Here go the verse in the Bible. Out of all the families of the earth, you only choose us. So if you only choose us, I don't think he loved everybody. No, everybody was for us. We were supposed to rule over everybody. Everybody was supposed to serve us. Had we obeyed the law, statutes, and commandments according to the Bible. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure enough, family, right after the second day, they came to us. I think it's second or third. I think it was the second day. They came to us asking us, are we willing to donate? I said, I am not going to co-sign to that shit. And of course, because, you know, my son was living with her, she feels as a mother, she had more rights. I said, if that's something that you want to do, you could go ahead and do it. But I am not signing shit. And sure enough, she signed the paper. And they was like, well, we need both. I said, no, you really don't need both. I said, wait. I'm about to say his name. I said, he's no longer here. I said, I'm giving her power of attorney to make whatever decision, because I don't want to have nothing to do with it. So that way, when they put that organ in that person, and my son decides to take revenge on their ass, especially if they're hybrid and shit, then he could do what he do. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, family, I know I sound kind of crazy right about now, but I just want to share this. Like I said, there's going to be a solar eclipse. I think now we need to get ready for the judgment to begin on these fucking hybrids. All praise be to the Most High. I hope he destroy these devils. They think they was going to live on. They don't realize that they are their ancestors. They come back. So the ones that did the wickedness to our ancestors, guess what? They came back today, and they're going to have to live out the judgment. Just like our ancestors, we are our ancestors, so we're going to live to see the day that the Most High pour his judgment out on these hybridized devil. And the only way you can get rid of a parasite, right, when you growing, let's say you growing you crop, you starting to harvest a crop, or you're going to grow in the ground, you have to burn out the parasites in the ground, right? Burn out the parasites in the ground, so that way they don't invade the crop. And that's exactly what he's going to do with this prison planet that these hybrids lives on. He's going to get rid of these devils. You know what I'm saying? Once and for all. All praise. Yes, I might get caught up in this shit, but it is what it is. I'm willing to sacrifice my life just to make sure these devils are no longer. And with that, I say shalom.